time for the post-fight recap for this morning's fights. We'll start off with the WBC bantamweight title fight against the reigning champion, Nordine Oubaali, and Takuma Inoue, the challenger and brother to Naoya Inoue, who fought in the main event of that same card. I'll say that Oubaali showed why he's the reigning champion. He showed his resilience. He showed his boxing acumen, his power. The straight left hand was definitely there tonight for Nordine Oubaali.
Tonight?
Tonight. I should be saying this morning, but it's nighttime somewhere. Apparently, it's nighttime in Japan. Better still, the left hand was definitely there for the southpaw Nordine Oubaali. Him being a southpaw, that's the punch that you're looking to land. That's a power shot, and that power shot was definitely there for Nordine, though I will say that power was the determining factor in this fight. Power and a bit of resilience. You know, Nordine, he's got a couple of years on Takuma. Nordine has his grown man strength, whereas Takuma, it's not that this guy isn't getting off shots, it's not that he's not landing, it's just that they're not having the same effect on Nordine that Nordine's punches are having on Takuma. I think that was a deciding factor in this fight. Takuma did relatively well. The jab definitely was a factor for Takuma, but I reiterate, it does seem like power and resilience, punch resistance, was a deciding factor in this fight. The ring IQ of Nordine Oubaali was put on display whenever he would string together combinations, then quickly step off as to not get too greedy, not stay there too long, change the angle, change the trajectory of the punches as to try to catch Takuma with something that he doesn't see. He had some success, but I'll say that skill for skill, Nordine wasn't head and shoulders above Takuma. He was definitely the slightly more skilled fighter, and it really was power and resilience, you know, being the more solid guy that I think determined the outcome of this fight, because Nordine was getting caught in spots. It's just that he took the punches well. He took the punches well because Takuma's not the puncher that he is. He doesn't quite pack that same kind of power. It's for this reason that as the fight progressed, one thought that resonated with me was, you know, if that was Naoya landing the same kind of punches that Takuma was landing, well, I don't think Nordine would have taken those punches in stride. I don't think he would have taken them as well. And this is an insight into what could be the unification match between Nordine Oubaali and what is now the unified bantamweight champion, Naoya Inoue. We'll talk about his fight shortly. That, you know, Oubaali's a good boxer, he's got good boxing acumen, comes from a good amateur background, and he's formidable. That's the sense that you get, that he's definitely a formidable champion, but he's a formidable champion in all the ways that an Emmanuel Rodriguez was a formidable champion. That, yeah, you can punch, you can box a bit, but I see the holes that Naoya Inoue can exploit. I think we found out very early in this fight which one of these two guys is the bigger puncher. Even if ahead of this fight you didn't quite get a sense of who's really the guy packing a wallop. In the fight, you found out kind of early that, okay, it's Oubaali. Oubaali's the bigger puncher out of these two guys. And in the fourth, he scored that knockdown. You kind of got the sense after the knockdown, when Takuma composed himself, got up, survived it, you kind of got the sense that Oubaali let him off the hook, that he could have finished that guy. You know, he could have finished that guy, that this fight could have ended a little sooner. It became clear that Takuma can't really punch with this guy, so if Oubaali decides to apply a little bit more pressure, maybe be a little bit more aggressive, you know, pin him down, plant those feet,
yeah,
lets him go, well, Takuma won't be able to take it, and the fight might actually come to a more abrupt end. You got the sense that Oubaali could finish this guy if he, you know, decides to get a little bit more aggressive. I won't argue with results, because at the end of the day, Oubaali did win this fight decisively. This wasn't a hard fight to score at all, so it's not much of a critique so much as just an observation that I think Oubaali kind of let him off the hook. I think Oubaali could have ended this fight sooner had he decided to be a little bit more aggressive, but no complaints, because he did win decisively, so there's that to consider. I guess he just didn't want to go getting greedy in there, you know, looking for a knockout, thereby running the risk of being knocked out. Good boxing acumen. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but all things considered, a good showing for Oubaali, I'd have to say. He showed what he can do. He showed, you know, certain virtues, that he's strong, he's durable, he can take a shot, he can give a shot, he certainly can. He's a crafty southpaw, and he brings something to the table in what could be a Naoya Inoue unification match. Credit to Nordine Oubaali. think the stage is pretty much set for that fight. This was the desired outcome, at least for me. You know, I was kind of afraid that if Takuma wins this fight, unseats Oubaali and becomes the WBC champion, we'd then be deprived of a unification match between champions because, well, Takuma is Naoya's brother, and I'm not expecting these two brothers to fight each other. So this was more or less the desired outcome for me, that Oubaali wins it, thereby making the unification match possible between him and Naoya. And for Naoya, I'd have to say that this could be a revenge fight for him in all the ways that the Corey Saunders fight was a revenge fight for Vitaly. Corey Saunders having beaten Vitaly's younger brother, Vladimir, in spectacular fashion, I might add. You know, Vitaly, he got revenge for his brother, and I think that Naoya is going to be looking to get revenge for his brother. That's the parallel. That's the correlation.
Makes sense.
Let's see if that's going to end up being in the works in the near future. We then move on to what was the main event, the World Boxing Super Series final in the bantamweight division, the unification match between the WBA champion Nonito Donaire and the IBF and Ring Magazine champion, pound-for-pound fighter, Naoya Inoue. This is a fight that a lot of people on this side of the world had to get up pretty early to watch, but it was worth it. These two guys performed their fucking asses off. They did. A credit to Nonito Donaire, who most people, including myself, had written off. I didn't think that this fight was going to be as competitive as it was. I didn't even think this fight was going to go to the cards. I figured Nonito might make it a fight in spots, but he's going to get stopped, and he didn't let that happen. Bit down on that gum shield, hit that extra gear, stood up, composed himself, and finished this fight on his feet. The resilience of Nonito Donaire in this fight was just incredible to watch, because not only is he hanging in there, he's not just surviving, he's standing his ground. He's holding his own in a fight that most people didn't think he could finish on his feet. It was incredible to watch. I have to say that for Naoya Inoue, this was the most I've ever seen him struggle. This was the most I've ever seen him have to go out there and work for a victory, and I have to say that he passed this test with flying colors. He went through the proverbial fire and emerged a unified champion. Understand that fighters like Naoya Inoue, monster punches, the kind of guys that most other fighters, they don't see 3-4 rounds with. These kinds of punches with this kind of power, a lot of times you put them in this situation to where they're nailing the guy, but the guy won't go away, the guy won't lay down, or he won't stay down. Most punchers that find themselves confronted with this kind of a litmus test, most other punchers fail this test because they're so accustomed to going in there and having it their way, they don't figure they're going to have to rely on something other than their God-given power. They don't figure that the contest itself might come down to who's the better boxer. I'll say that Nonito Donaire really made Naoya Inoue earn this victory, because these guys were pulling virtually everything they had out of the tool bag. We saw good straight punches from both guys, sometimes simultaneously nailing each other, snapping both their heads back at the same time. We saw very good hooks from both fighters, particularly from Nonito Donaire, whose short hooks on the inside got Naoya Inoue's respect and let him know he's not just going to walk in there and have his way with Nonito. He's got to tread lightly, because while Nonito's not the same guy that he used to be, he still hits hard than a son of a bitch. Nonito drew blood early in this fight and asserted himself early in this fight. The counter-punching from Nonito Donaire was also particularly eye-catching at times,
those short hooks,
nailing Naoya Inoue between the punches, letting him know that he can't be greedy with his combinations, he can't be greedy with his speed or his power, because something may come back at him, and what comes at him might just be enough to hurt him. We saw Nonito, you know, nail Naoya with some very interesting shots. In turn, for Naoya Inoue,
had to regroup.
He found out quickly that Nonito's here to fight. Nonito's durable enough that he can take what Naoya's got and keep on coming. It's here that Naoya Inoue passed this test with flying colors, because I reiterate, most punchers, the likes of a Naoya Inoue, don't expect to have to go in there, let alone against a guy like Nonito Donaire, and a guy who you know has seen better days. They don't expect they're going to have to work this hard for it. Labor through a cut that can go 0 to 60 as soon as Nonito touches it, whilst at the same time bleeding out of their nose. They don't figure that they would have to deal with this kind of adversity. You know, most big punchers, they get accustomed to having things their way, so you push them a little, and they don't like it. They're not used to it. Sometimes they end up like deers in the headlights. They just don't know how to react. Whereas in the case of Naoya Inoue, he passed this test lost with flying colors because he so decided to pick apart Nonito Donaire. Hit him with straight shots up top, straight shots downstairs. Don't be a glutton for punishment. Don't just walk up to this guy swinging for the fences. Pick your spots. Take your time. He's the older fighter in a fight.
Sharper than he is.
Go up top on him. Go downstairs on him. Hit him with different kinds of punches. Hit him with different combinations. Give him different looks. Use everything you got. Not just your power, not just your speed, but your boxing brain to figure this guy out and land the kind of punches that you want to land. You know, that body shot that he hit Donaire with, that would have took out most other guys. In most other situations, that would have been enough to end the fight. A credit to Nonito Donaire's toughness that he decided to get up. He could have stayed down there. You know, he's already done way better than anybody expected him to. You know, he could have stayed down there. He decided to get up. But that body shot, that was a magnificent body shot. A well-placed body shot that Naoya Inoue really drove. And he really caught Nonito with something that Nonito didn't see.
Those are the ones that hurt.
The delayed reaction, the anguish of Nonito Donaire as he walked away from him and just took a knee to try to compose himself, try to buy himself some time. I mean, he was clearly hurt by the shot. He was clearly hurt after he got up from the shot. I'll tell you, this fight was a real nail-biter. This fight was a thriller. And it was a thriller because even in rounds that you might have given to Naoya Inoue, you got the sense that there's an element of danger here, that Nonito Donaire is still very much in this fight. He's not out of this thing, and one good shot could turn everything around for him. And we saw a glimmer of that, you know, when this guy does land, you know, the right hand was there for Nonito Donaire, and it was there for most of the fight. That was a punch that he consistently landed. We saw counter shots. We saw countering of the counter shots.
Counter to counter.
We saw the athleticism, the footwork, the bounce of Naoya Inoue. The speed, the accuracy, the precision punching, and more importantly, the poise. Because a lot of other guys, a lot of other punchers that are used to having things their way, they may not keep their composure in this situation. They may become desperate, looking for that knockout, laboring to get it. Whereas Naoya Inoue, he showed he's more than just a strong puncher. He's a damn good boxer. This was a sensational fight and a genuine Fight of the Year candidate. The boxing gods have been very kind to the boxing fans in 2019 because we got a couple of Fight of the Year candidates out there. And with this fight this morning, we just got another one. I'm sure all 20,000 people that were in attendance and the millions at home watching over there in Japan, including the people over here stateside and around the world, I'm sure they weren't disappointed because this was a highly competitive fight and boxing, genuine boxing at the highest level. This wasn't just a firefight. There was a lot of strategy to what you saw going on. Both men, regardless of who emerged the victor, both men gave a fantastic account of themselves. But now that a victor has been determined and a unified champion has emerged, credit where the credit is due must be given, and a rank must be assigned to what is now the unified bantamweight champion, Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue, who's already ranked on the Ring IQ pound for pound list at number 7. Given today's events, his overall track record, the number of divisions he's been a full-fledged champion, and how many world champions he's unseated compared to those ahead of him, well, Naoya Inoue advances to the number 4 spot of the Ring IQ pound for pound list, ahead of Vasyl Lomachenko, ahead of Kazuto Ioka, and ahead of Leo Santa Cruz. It being that the governing criteria dictates the most accomplished guy on the list rises to the top, and it just so happens that, well, Naoya Inoue's been a 3-division champion, a champion in 3 weight classes, the same as Vasyl Lomachenko, the same as Leo Santa Cruz. He hasn't been a champion in 4 weight classes like Kazuto Ioka, but Naoya Inoue has in fact beaten more world champions than Kazuto has. Let's do a head count. Naoya Inoue defeated an unseeded WBC light flyweight champion Adrian Hernandez, WBO super flyweight champion Omar Narvaez, IBF bantamweight champion Emmanuel Rodriguez, and WBA bantamweight champion Nonito Donaire. That's 4 active reigning world champions that Naoya Inoue defeated. 4 to Vasyl Lomachenko's 3, Kazuto Ioka's 2, and Leo Santa Cruz's 2. I don't know what kind of pound for pound list you guys got to where beating active reigning world champions doesn't matter, where beating active reigning world champions for world titles doesn't count. But on this list, it counts. It's a part of the governing criteria. And as it stands, Naoya Inoue has beaten more active reigning world champions than those guys have. He's fought in the same number of divisions, been a world champion in the same number of divisions as two of those guys.
Loma and Leo.
And even though Kazuto Ioka has been a champion in 4 weight classes to Naoya Inoue's 3, Naoya's beaten more world champions than he has. Twice as many. And he's managed to accomplish all of this at only, what, 26 years old? Simultaneously maintaining an unblemished track record of nothing but success. Based on the Ring IQ governing criteria, he has earned that number 4 spot, and it's going to take some catching up from those guys in order to match and or surpass him. This guy's no joke. Now I can only imagine how many disgruntled comments I'm going to get once this video's uploaded from Vasyl Lomachenko's core fan base, his supporters. But need I remind you that this list is based on a governing criteria and certain units of measure. That's what dictates who goes where and why. We substantiate the rank standings with the facts as they are. And while you might like Vasyl Lomachenko more than Naoya Inoue, while you might be more of a fan of Loma than Inoue, this list isn't ranking who you like more. This list isn't about who you'd rather watch or who you identify with. The units of measure and the governing criteria is well established, and this is not a popularity contest. This list uses the accomplishments of the fighters as a reflection of their skills.
In case you ain't know.
Because at its base, that's what a pound-for-pound list is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an assessment of skill, not an assessment of who you like more than somebody else. And I know what the next comment is going to be. I can almost hear it now.
Well, I thought pound-for-pound list was about skill.
Oh, you moron. In order for you to accomplish this much, you'd have to have the skills to do it. Because if you didn't have the skills, you wouldn't have the accomplishments. Thus, one is synonymous with the other. In fact, one validates, quantifies the other. So you can't say that a guy's the most skilled guy in the world without the accomplishments that reflect those skills. And that is why here today, Naoya Inoue stands as the number 4 pound-for-pound fighter on the Ring IQ pound-for-pound list.